Hello everybody! Welcome to day 30 of my vlog, whatever. So lots to talk about today. I'll try and keep it short, but there's a lot that happened in the last couple days, medically, and then also just outside of the medical realm, and then just in my space. So I'll make it short, but I want to attach this to the next video, hopefully, or release them both at the same time, just because I have some good stuff to talk about, which is always fun, and so that's why I want to get it out as soon as possible, and I want to let everyone know. So day 30, as I mentioned. So the third tip that I have for the hospital stay, in terms of if you are gonna go or whatever and you've never been, is bring your own entertainment. Make sure you load it up with stuff you can access. The Wi-Fi is spotty at best, so you're not gonna get the ability to really download too much. You might get a couple megabytes. I got about a couple hundred megabytes, and then it would cut out, and then I'd have to kind of reset and restart. So it's choppy at best, so kind of make sure that you load it up beforehand, and try, if you possibly, sign up for one of these TV services. I'm not going to really mention any names specifically, that offer an app that you can watch live. So that way you don't really have to worry about using the TV that's available there. They were providing it for free, which was nice. So thank you to HST for providing the TV for free, but there were quite a few issues with it, primarily being just the stream and the lag. So you'd be watching a hockey game, Jets, go Jets, and it would cut out, and it would stutter, and it would kind of jerk, and you'd miss some important stuff happening. So you kind of be like, well, what's the point in that, right? So that was one thing. The other thing is they offer video call, and they give you, that's also, so the TV is also your telephone, and there's an extension on there, but there's also kind of this handheld device that you can physically dial numbers with, and then there's a little earpiece, and I have a feeling like they haven't cleaned that earpiece in who knows how long, so when you're trying to listen to someone, you can't hear them. And then for myself, I had a bunch of noise, and I had a bunch of stuff like breathing tubes, because I had a trach, right? So there was constant air being pushed and sucked, and there was other tubes and noise and beeping and whatever. So that speaker in this TV, it's a very directional mic speaker, so it doesn't, and I mean purposefully so. I mean, they don't want everyone's TV blasting the whole ward, but for myself, I couldn't get it loud. I couldn't hear what was going on. So and then they had, and for me and myself, I was lucky. I had a newer model which had some HDMI ports. Some of the older ones don't even have that. They have RGB and some other ports. So if you do end up getting a newer one, you can HDMI connect. So if you bring your laptop or something like that, you can connect the HDMI, and you'll be able to access your content that way. So that's kind of cool. They also have YouTube right now, because it's free, so that you can access the internet. So that was really the good thing, and the radio were the really good things that you could do on there. But other than that, if you wanted to really watch your own content or catch up with your own content, that wasn't the best place for it. And I mean, they did open up all the channels for us, but it was still only about 24 channels or so. And if you're in a room with anyone else, you will hear kind of the delay, so it gets annoying. Putting headphones in, you think that you'd be able to listen to the other individual. So I had headphones with a microphone, and I plugged it into the jack, thinking that, hey, headphones with a microphone, no problem, and I couldn't get it to work. So I couldn't hear, I could hear them, but they couldn't hear me, and so it was frustrating and that kind of stuff. And so also then, because I had only access to one arm, FaceTiming was hard, and I had an iPad, but it kind of didn't sit properly. So that's that. So bring your own entertainment. In terms of health updates, got quite a few of them. So as you might notice, my trach here, so the whole, I have no band-aid anymore. So there you go. So that's all kind of scabbed up and closed up. So yay to that. And that's, you know, awesome. The other thing that you might have noticed is my arm. Guess what? I'm not wearing this thing anymore. Woohoo! So that's nice. So you can kind of now see a little bit more of the end of the scar. But that's it. Yeah, I was told by the plastic surgeon's office that I would be able to just wear it like this, and if I have a shower, I'm allowed to go have a shower now and wash and whatever, and just to pat it dry and to dress it again. So hopefully we can time it out with the home care nurses, that I quickly jump in the shower, wash it, pat it dry, and then come out here and you can redress it. Otherwise, don't really know how it's gonna work, because I don't really want to leave it exposed in terms of, I mean, it's not really dirty in here, but you know what I mean. So, so that's really positive. You also may notice that I'm talking a little bit better, which is nice. It's still numb, but I do have a little bit more feeling coming back, so that's also a nice thing. But now it's starting to hurt. But yeah, I get itches and that kind of stuff, so I can feel a little bit more. Stitches are coming out from my mouth area and stuff, so I constantly kind of spit up a stitch here and there. I apologize if that's gonna make anyone queasy, but it's a fact. But yes, I mean, I still feel the tightness. I feel that there, you know, was trauma there, but yeah, I'm starting to feel, which is nice. So that's awesome. This too is also, you know, so not because I'm moving it, you know, it's hurting, but I think part of that too is the muscles, you know, weren't were deteriorating. So now I'm rebuilding the muscles, which is awesome. So I can do stuff. I can now lift my soups and do things. So I'm really excited about that. And then in terms of my leg, I guess the rubbing of my jeans, the inside of the jeans is a little bit rougher than the outside, or even just, I mean, jeans are pretty rough in general. So I thought because they were loose fitting jeans and not tight, you know, jeans, that they wouldn't rub. But I guess they were rubbing, or maybe there was something in the chemicals or something, but my legs started having little blisters, and then one of the blisters became a big blister, and it ended up basically expressing itself, and so it ended up, you know, basically popping. And so now I have a wrap around my leg just to kind of keep that blister nice and clean and away from any sources. It's healing already, so that's not a big issue, but it's just, you know, a little bit of a setback. But it's actually kind of feels nice to have this tensor bandage and dressing on my leg. So yeah, that's nice. So so that's that. And then in terms of lifestyle and that kind of stuff, so that's kind of what's been keeping me from recording, is that I had someone here for about a day and a half-ish, 2 days. So I won't give you specifics in terms of exact individuals, but one of my friends called me up and said, I have someone that's in my family, and they are having a situation within the family, and they need a place to stay. You know, as someone who has been homeless, who's gone through some struggles in life, you know, I knew this individual from previous days. It's not like I text them every day or even speak to them or really even see them. I hear of them and kind of get little updates here and there, but nothing really, you know, personal. So I said, sure. You know, I mean, I do have a hide bed, so there's a hide bed over here. The true authentic purpose of that bed is for anyone that, you know, is in the area and maybe consumes a little too much and needs a place to stay and doesn't want to drive. You know, or my friends, they want to come over and hang out and whatever, and they get tired and don't want to drive. You know, like all those kind of things. Or someone just needs a place to stay. I mean, obviously, I pay rent for one individual, so I mean, it's obviously not a place that they can stay forever, but it's there to kind of help along to the next place if they need somewhere to stay for a couple of days until they can find another place, or find a rental place, or find somewhere that they can stay more permanently. With COVID, obviously, it's a little bit more difficult in terms of shelters and that. So it's definitely, so it was a tough situation. So this individual ended up, first of all, initially declined the offer of staying here and went somewhere else first. And I guess at about 3 in the morning, someone came home and found out that he was staying there, and then found out a little bit about his situation. And so they ended up getting kicked out of this place that they were. So I got a call at 3 o'clock in the morning asking if I was still awake and if I was still willing to have this individual stay with myself. And I said, sure, of course. So I was pre-warned a little bit that the individual that the person and that kind of character and the personality that I knew a couple of years ago is certainly not the same individual before or now, which I understood. But there has been some trauma, or had been some trauma in terms of substance abuse and maybe some other things, and so that's affected their ability to perceive reality versus what is not reality, which is whatever they've kind of created in terms of their own creation in their own world and what they perceive as their reality. Ended up, so I set this all up, got this all set up, and first night was okay, but I did notice some kind of quirkiness things. He was talking kind of thing, in things I didn't understand. Of course, I was like, yeah, totally. And he's like, yeah, you get me. And I'm like, yeah. Talking about levels. And so it was kind of like, playing along, like, yeah, levels. And there's a bunch of other stuff. He's also kind of doing this all the time. And, I believe in energies and spirits and that kind of stuff. And those kind of, some of this supernatural. And so, I half-jokingly was kind of talking about how he's might be building kinetic energy and that kind of stuff. So that was the first night. He also, of course, for some reason, wanted to have the television on, and I sleep right on the other side of the TV. So he's watched Lucifer, and he's not even watching, he just needs the sound on, so that was a little frustrating. So I asked him to turn it down as well, but, turn it down for him is, he starts to hear it, so I could hear Lucifer all night. So then day 2, I woke up, I made coffee and tea, and it was kind of, and it was an all right day. We went, I had to do some shopping. He came with me, he helped me out, and so it was a pretty all right day. I mean, nothing really out of the ordinary until about the evening. So I was making supper, I was making soup, and my friend who asked if this individual could stay at my place called me and asked me how it's going, and so I told him how it's going, and it was all positive. But of course I wasn't sugarcoating anything, and I told this individual that I have some rules. Obviously, this isn't a hotel, and if this individual would like to stay longer or would like more help, that I would like to see at least just some effort in terms of trying to find a place to live or a job or those kind of things, because this individual had none of those things. And so I said, well, if you're looking for a place, you have a job, so that's the first step. So I said, just small steps, as long as I can see that, we can kind of talk day by day. So, and I mean, I don't have very many I said, that's your space, that couch is your space, and the desk, and so I said, the desk you can kind of use, but I have my laptop there, so, I wanted to use my laptop, but he needed to use the iMac, and so it's a little bit of a strange situation, so he ended up kind of using his cell phone, which is fine, and so that's how he said he was submitting his resumes, so that's fine. So back to that evening, so I'm talking to this person that recommended, or that asked if this person could stay, and as I'm talking to, on the phone, this person is here, they're trying to talk to me, or messaging me, or saying, but anyway, they were basically like, no, I'm not doing this, or I'm not doing that, and all I said was that, they were watching TV, that was fine, and there's nothing wrong with watching TV. And she said, oh no, well, I'm not watching TV. Well, yeah, okay, and so a little bit earlier in the day, my mom had come by to just after the home care nurse, and she was, actually I think it was just after the home care nurse. Anyway, so she came by, and I was in my room, anyway, so she came by, and when they introduced themselves, as a name that I wasn't familiar with. So I was at first I was just like, whoa, that's kind of really strange. I'm not, that they wouldn't introduce themselves as a name that I knew them as growing up or now. So that kind of threw me off a little bit. So that day, it was all right. We ended up going shopping and doing some things. And throughout the day, we had kind of moments of tension, but then we also had moments of, chilling and joshing with each other and playing around and, just kind of, hanging out. So it was, but there were also, these moments of like tension and moments of not knowing if we're joking or one of us, and so. So that was kind of, a little off-putting, but, I realized that, there was stuff going on. So next morning, the home care nurse had come, my mom was on FaceTime, and then the nurse left, ended the phone call, and we're sitting here chilling. So this was yesterday, so we're sitting chilling. Oh yeah, so I was sitting here and I was drinking my coffee and whatever, and taking my medication, and that morning I didn't make him a coffee. I was totally willing to teach him how to make the coffee, but because it wasn't really going to be doing it. And plus I still had a cast at that point, so I just was tired of having to do 2 glasses, steam more milk, steam coffee, grind it twice, all this stuff. So I was sitting here doing my thing, and he goes up and goes in this direction. I can't see what happens because there's a wall here, but throughout his stay, he was kind of going there. And sometimes he would go to the mirror, sometimes, so I have a mirror here when you're leaving so you can check yourself, and then also I had, the bathroom. And so the thing is that because I have a door from my room to the bathroom, I kept that closed, and I wasn't using it because I didn't want to intrude or somehow walk in if I didn't realize the light was on. So I was always using the hallway and going back in. And what was happening was I would go to use the washroom, and the door would be half closed, like it would be maybe only this much open, and the light would be off. And so I was worried that at night or something I would walk into the door. So I asked him, the first time I saw it, I said, hey, can you just make sure that you're leaving the door open, unless obviously you're stinking it up or whatever. But I've used this washroom and I've been okay after, and I've sprayed, and I have no, anyway, so but tell me that you're closing it, because I don't want to be walking into a door, especially with what's going on. And so he's like, okay, and he says yes. And for the whole time, I'm telling him, hey, can you please close it? Keep the door open. So it's that morning, he goes, and I have a suspicion that he's gone and he's left the door half ajar again. So sure enough, and I had to go to the washroom anyway, so I walk up and I know, and sure enough it is. So I just kind of pointed at the door and said, hey, I've asked you, can you please keep the door open? I don't want to walk into it. And he just flips his lid. He gets totally upset, starts freaking out, says it's unfair, starts using some horrible words and terms, and just kind of gets super irate. And he's like, you know what, I'm leaving. You're irrational, you don't make it, and I just, you know what, okay, fine, leave, go. I don't need this, get out, get out of here. And so he's now upset. He's looking for his stuff, and he's and he's trying to find this and that, whatever. And I don't know what he's looking for, but he's throwing stuff out of his bag. Finally, puts everything back in, and his bag's over here. He's walking with his bag. He's walked past my desk. I had a ginger ale. He slaps the ginger ale off my desk. He goes to the closet and he puts his jacket on. And after putting his jacket on, he gets his bag. And he walks past, and I have a footstool with hand sanitizer, and he knocks that off, and that goes flying. And so I'm just like, oh, okay, well then, I'm following you to make sure that you're not gonna cause an issue or do anything. So I'm, so I open the door. He turns around, he's like, you're not following me. I'm like, I'm gonna make sure that you leave the building. So yes, I am gonna follow you. And so he's like, no, you're not. So he's walking. He's now walked past the stairs to go out, but he's already used those stairs, so he knows they're there. And now, I'm keep following. I'm keeping my distance. And he's like, you're not gonna follow me. I'm like, well, I just want to make sure that you leave, because I don't know what's going on, but I just want to make sure that you're not going to cause any damage or do anything wrong. And so he's like, you don't have to follow me. And I'm just like, well, yes, And so he's like, well, how do I get out of here? How do I get out of here? He's already walked past the elevator. So sure enough, I give him. And I say, hey, here's the stairs. So turn stairs, and he goes, obviously enters the stairs first, and there's a little bit of a gap between us. And so I go to push the door, but I guess I caught up to him a little bit. And so he was just closing it, and I go to stand there, and he just pushes it in my face, and I had to stand back and move my foot. And I put my foot just almost in the door frame. And the door went over my sandal, so thank goodness, and I took my foot out, and so he was holding the door. So finally, I just let go, and just kind of stood there for half a second or half a minute, whatever, just for a couple seconds, and then I opened the door, and now he's down the stairs. So I said, hey, keep going. And he's like, well, how do I'm like, keep going down to the first floor, and you can exit. He's like, well, where's the first floor? I'm like, just keep going. It's downstairs. So he's now he's like, you don't have to follow me. I'm like, you just need to leave the building, and that's all I want. And he's like, if you follow me outside, you're gonna have problems. And I'm like, you just need to leave. So I'm going to go to the front door. I'm making sure that he's not going to try and sneak back in. And so I get to the door, and I'm closing the door, and he's like, if you come outside, you're going to have big problems, man. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever, man. And so he starts giving me the finger and starts doing all this stuff and everything. And so whatever. So he's yelling, and finally he turns around and walks away. And so he starts sending me messages and just horrible things, and so I had to deal with that. I mean, there's the police ended up coming for information and that kind of stuff. So this morning, and so then that evening, or late that afternoon, my mom had come because she wasn't able to come in the morning. She came that afternoon, and that's so I told her what happened and everything. So we were just kind of talking, and so she brought some grub and some snacks, and so she was actually about to leave, and I got a call. I saw that it was cancer care, so I answered the phone, and it was this nurse named Rob, who is the nurse for this doctor, and he is the radiation oncologist, and so I have an appointment tomorrow, which is he was calling yesterday, so I have an appointment today at 10:30 in the morning to talk to this doctor and get more information about what the future steps in treatment will be. And so my mom asked if the pathology would come in, and he said no, but they have some way of contacting the pathology team and getting it verbally faster than when it's, so it takes them a little bit more time to write it out than it does for them to just kind of tell it, because they have to put it all in kind of formal words and all that kind of stuff. So so they said, come in tomorrow and we will have the results and all that kind of stuff. So today my mom picks me up, we go to cancer care, and we check in, and Nurse Rob comes in and he asks the typical nurse questions, medications and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go and I'll come back I'm gonna go and Dr. His name starts with a B, I can't remember his name, but he's gonna come and discuss with you what the next steps are. So my mom and I are sitting and waiting, and it didn't take very long. I mean, he came in and apologized for how long we were sitting, but I mean, it felt like maybe 5-10 minutes, which isn't long in hospital terms. So he ends up, so he sits down, he has a stack of papers about yay thick, and proceeds to explain that, he kind of goes over what happened, so in terms of the surgery, and then pulling out all the lymph nodes and that kind of stuff. And then so he reiterated that they got good margins around the tumor. They extracted all the lymph nodes on this side here, and that they sent all that to pathology. And so he said that he had just gotten off the phone with the pathologist, and so they checked all the slides and checked everything, and the margins are good, and that all the lymph nodes that they extracted and they checked, there's no evidence of any carcinoma cells. So that means, he said that because radiation, you get red swelling, you're uncomfortable, it's sore, that's an everyday treatment, there's a lot of uncomfortable parts to it, that the benefits don't outweigh what the negatives are. And so at this point, he doesn't recommend radiation, and so that would mean that my treatment really has ended, and that's it. I'm either I'm in remission or cancer. He said that there's it's not a 0% chance that it won't come back, but he did say that right now, you're free. So I will have follow-up appointments every few months to make sure that nothing comes back. Obviously said if you feel any lumps or anything like that, then make sure you call us and let us know. But yeah, as of right now, that's it. So woohoo, right? That means that's it. So from now on, this vlog will be all about recovery, and I mean, not that it really wasn't about that, but now everyone can be a little bit more relieved to know that it's just our journey ahead of just recovery, and with how quickly things are healing and that and everything like that, then it won't be too long before I'm back on modified duties and working, and with the way it's working, I probably will be back at work before I get EI. So, but that's another story for another day. So, there we go. Great news. So, we keep fighting the fight, and I can't wait to kind of just relax. And I mean, now I can really get over all this. But yeah, it's just really nice to know that I'm not gonna kind of have to go through any more pain or anything like that. I'm just gonna focus on healing. And then I can kind of get this tooth fixed, and it'll all be gravy. So there will still be more episodes to come, don't worry. I'll still talk about what's going on, if there's feelings or things that come around, or projects or things I'm doing. So definitely stay tuned. So I hope you guys enjoy the day. Take care. Obviously, you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. So make sure you do that. But love each other, love yourself. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Have a great week and a great weekend, and take care. Peace, take care, and celebrations. Have a drink for me. I will have probably one myself, but not too big because I can't. So anyway, have a great one. We'll see you soon. Take care. Toby out. Peace.